Let's start. I'll share my screen with you guys. So basically, this is like a technical Q&A and TON programming onboarding session. So as a developer, when I just came on this platform and I just came to know about TON. So I was actually reading documents multiple time, and then I get to know and connect those dots. And after that, like, it was a fruitful experience for me. But at the end of the day, I realized, yeah, if someone actually could come and explain me the few things in the starting, then it will actually save a lot of time. And when I actually read those documents, that will actually make more sense for me. So if when people will come and they'll ask question, we'll answer that. But before that, I'll simply give a brief introduction and everything which I have collected in multiple readings from the document. So I'll share that. So this is the table of content, basically the introduction to TON and things to know before actually development on TON, and how TON, working with DApps on TON, or how to make your own DApps on TON, and what is function C, what are types in function C, what is the structure of a smart contract in development, and how you can set up a local, and most importantly, writing your first smart contract using RID or other methods. So basically, TON is a third generation blockchain. By third generation blockchain, what I mean is, like, first generation blockchain is like crypto, which is basically for transactions, and Bitcoin is the first blockchain which most of us know. And then there is come, like, Ethereum. In that, you can interact with the apps, and you can write your own smart contract. They develop a language called Solidity. And now the third generation, we call it like third generation because TON is having like 500 million plus users, and actually it has a potential. So no, if you want blockchain to be a like a accepted by a general public accepted chain, or blockchain as a technology, we want it to penetrate and to be actually really decentralized. So we want it to be used by masses. So this is like something only TON can do it, because TON, the kind of users TON right have, like, because we are native Telegram blockchain, so the kind of users base Telegram have, that will actually has a potential to use it. So TON blockchain is based on similarly like TON coin, and this is like a cryptocurrency where we pay most of, like, it is like Ethereum. We pay gas, we write smart contract, but with many different and advanced features it has. TON is going to lead the third phase of blockchain, as I have told you, like, because it's a large user base. It will bring the world towards the mass adoptability of blockchain as a technology, and it will change the whole way in which we interact with the internet, we interact with each other. And like, the next series things we should know before starting development on TON. So I assume, like, when I was making this, so the one thing in my mind, like, if someone is a Telegram user and he know nothing about TON, then why, how he will react? And he is very curious, he don't know what is blockchain, and he wants to come and actually know about TON and about the different. So the things he should know, like, what is blockchain, what is wallet, what is testnet, mainnet, what is Tone Explorer, NFT, which we call Jeton, test coin, and everything. So he should know these things. I'll explain these things in very brief. So what is blockchain? Blockchain is simply the it's a kind of decentralized internet. So as we all know, like, we have servers, and every backend, and the servers are placed everywhere. So in blockchain, like, what we have is, like, we have blocks, and we actually write our data on those, and that is stored on the internet, as currently it's on different protocols. And what is a wallet? Wallet is like something like, we have like PayPal, or like we have in India, we have UPI. So it is something like we store our native like dollars or euro and like Indian rupees. So in wallet we basically store like our NFT, our assets, our crypto, our currency and different coins. We actually store them in our wallet, and they are actually the way we we the way they interact with the, like, they are actually on the blockchain. Most of their transaction, everything is kept on blockchain. So it is like very different from the like UPI where we have our centralized server, then all the data is controlled by a one party. But it's not in case of like these chains and wallets. And there are two types of wallets we have, and we will actually come to know about it later. And then we have like mainnet and we are there. I'll see that. I think we have like three, four people. I think they are listening. So I'll explain. So the next thing we have like mainnet and testnet. So mainnet is basically where the real coin and the real smart contracts are actually we deploy the smart contract, they are actually go live on those mainnet, and we actually pay real coins which have like real value in it. And testnet is something like testnet is mainly for if I actually I'm not confident about my smart contract, or if I'm a beginner and I want to write a smart contract and test them, because it will cost us fees to actually deploy our contract on blockchain. So testnets is basically for the developers who can actually test their what they the smart contracts what they write, and they can experiment it with it. And what is ton explorer? So ton explorer is basically, it's like we can actually see the on actually ton or on anything, everything is in the form of transactions. So basically blockchain everything is in the form of transactions. So where we can see like it's a publicly available data. So we claim like it's a decentralized data, and everybody can we can actually see it. So how can we see it? So ton explorer basically is a platform where we can actually see the transactions, what we have, what the kind of activities we have done, and for that we need just our address and everything. And what are NFT? NFTs are, we call them, they are like non-fungible tokens. So basically, they are the assets which, that are unique. They have unique value. It's like a painting. It's like you can have a copy of Mona Lisa painting, but actually the original Mona Lisa painting is unique. So NFT is like something unique, which are artists or different people they create it, and they actually sell it on online, or you can say on blockchain. So people buy NFTs, they sell NFTs, and it's like a huge new dimension or a topic which will cover later. And what are like jetons? What are jetons? We call them tokens. So like we have like different chains, different apps, they have their own currency. And it's basically a game of like demand and supply. Though, so the the more the people use a certain kind of app, so the more they use their native coin, and and to do the certain activities on, particularly on those apps or blockchains. Like we have like many countries, they have their own currencies. So if I am in Paris, then I have to use like their own currency. If I am in India, then you have to actually use my Indian rupees. So like this way, if you want to choose a particular services, then you can actually use their coin. And if you are not having that coin, you can actually, there are various exchanges available, you can exchange it with very wild accepted currencies. Like we actually, it's basically an international system we have right now. And what are test coins? So test coins are basically the virtual coins. So we use them to to test our smart contract, and to have certain things on, like to do certain tasks on blockchain, or to test our contracts. So these kind of like basic things you should know, before starting the development, because it's always, we need a wallet to like to connect with the to deploy our smart contract and everything. We need to know about what is mainnet, testnet, to write a smart contract. We need the knowledge of explorer to see like at the end like what transaction we have done, and we should know about like test coin, what are test coin, what are NFTs. We should be aware of these things. So that's why I have included these things in my slide. And then let's move to the next slide. So now we working with the D app. So in like Town we have like a different and if I'll talk about what are decentralized apps, so I'll explain it in brief. So decentralized apps are very much different from like centralized app. It's like we have Uber. If I talk about Uber, like Uber has a centralized system, they provide services, and then most of the like Then drivers and cab riders, they come together, and Uber works as a mediator. It controls the pricing, the surge price, and everything. So it's a centralized model. Certain companies providing them services, and both the riders and cab owners, they come together, they are providing services. But what is a decentralized? Suppose we have a system like, there is no Uber exist, and it's all decentralized, and the cab drivers and riders, they just come together and then interact with each other. So this is like something is decentralization is, we reduce the dependency on the centralized system. So in what way like DApps is made on TON, if I talk about? So DApps, if I talk about, we have two parts in TON. Like one part contain like function C. So it's basically the backend part and the database part. So the smart contract we write on function C. What is smart contract? I also talk a brief about it. So smart contracts are basically the the codes written basically in if I'll talk about like in Web3, we call it like code is law. So it's basically code work as a law. And we make certain rules with smart contracts and with the codes. So once the condition is fulfilled, those actually activities already that activities will trigger or executed once the condition is met. So we call these codes or the programs smart contract. So we actually write a smart contract on function E, and that is all like logic part and database part. So backend server is, it's like a logic part, what all this computation is happening, and database is something like where everything is get stored. And if I'll want to store something on blockchain, like I stored in on my Google Drive, so it's the database part. So it's all is stored in a smart contract in TON. And what is like the another part is web front for interaction. Like we open an app and we see different things, like I have to log in and everything. So this is the way like I interact with my app. So this is the front end part, and the the way client interact with them. And the back end part is like a smart contract, which is basically hidden from a user, and he don't know like what kind of computation is happening there, how his data is storing and everything, but he basically interact with the first part. So that is front end. So this is the same, this in this way like TON DApps works. If I talk about, they have two parts, like they have a smart contract and then web front end. Then they are actually develop to develop a DApp, we actually need to develop these two parts. Next, move to the like what is function C. So the development happen on TON is basically in function C. So function C, like the it is actually the agenda of this call also. Like we should know the to write something on a smart contract, to write something on TON, or to develop something like NFT marketplace. And if I want to make an app and like DeFi app, or something like metaverse or anything like these kind of things are actually written with the help of function C. So if I'll talk about functions is a high level language. So basically, if I'll talk about low level language, because the low level language is like assembly code, which really the computer understands. So we need to actually interact with the computers, and for that we need a language. Like we human, speak in English, and it's French or Spanish. So we interact with each other, but we cannot actually interact with the computer in the same language we interact with the humans. So what we do is like we have a language that the way we interact with, like we have C++, Java, and everything. So it's a high level language. We call it as a high level language because it's a mixture of like it's easy as compared to those low level languages like assembly code, where everything is written in the form of like binary and 0 and 1. So it's easy to understand. And function C is a very domain specific language. What is domain? What we mean by domain specific? Because it is something I was not aware of like before 1 or 2 years. So it was very new to me. So what is domain specific? Domain specific is a language which is actually developed for a certain task. Like if I'll talk about like C, Java, these kind of languages are generic language. We can actually do a lot of activities with these languages. But domain specific language is something which is actually developed for a specific purpose, and for a specific task to complete. And what are the advantage of domain specific language? Like we have faster computation, because I was also thinking when I was learning about functions here in ton, like why they have created a like a new language if we have like so many different languages. So the main task of ton is to have like really have a mass adaptability, and the having a large number of scalability. So functions is specifically developed keeping those things in mind, and because those kind of things were actually not available in the previous languages, like we have solidity and others. So what the solution functions is providing, it's basically developed just to keep in mind, like how if we'll have like 500 million users, so how can we cater though, how can we can actually develop a something that actually will not be a hindrance once we scale, or once we get a that large number of users, like be it in the computation, or like the time it take to for the transaction and the cost and everything. So this is basically developer keeping in that things in mind. That's why it's a domain specific language. And we have like a static, and yeah, functions is a statically typed language. We have to actually define, like there are two type of languages, a static and define, and dynamic language. So what is basically static type languages, you have to basically define your integers, and whether it's integer or string and everything, you have to like define it before. And like what are dynamically a language, dynamically typed language, those languages are basically the languages which where you don't have to actually define a database before actually doing something on it. Like you in python you don't have to like define it. If whether if you're defining, that's good. If you are not, like it's not a problem. And if I'll talk about the compilation on function C, so function C is not directly compiled into like assembly codes. It's basically compiled into like filth, and then it's compiled into like, then at the end of the day bytecodes are generated, and this things happen. So we talk about function C, why it is used, why it is created, what it's have like high level language, it's a very domain specific language, it's a static language, and how these things work. Then we move to the next slide, and it's like type. So like we have different, almost I think six or five or six types for function C. So basically everything on actually on ton is in the form of integer. So it's like we have 257 bits of signed integer. It's a very big number. So everything that comes actually, uh, everything we actually define or store is something, it's in the form of integer in ton. So it's if it's like it's get a bigger number, then we can actually have a reference to the other cell. So basically we have like two things, like it's basically store those value, and also it actually refers to the other cells which actually store them. So if we have something like the value greater than 577 bit is we want to store it, then it gets stored in a single cell, and then it by reference it can actually refer it to other cell. And what are the cells? So everything is on ton is presented in the form of data, and it's stored in the form of tree of cells. So if I'll talk about everything that is present on ton, it's in the form of cell, and it's stored in the form of cell only. So it's a tree like structure. If I'll talk about a tree, like we have leaves, so we have like cells. And what is slice? Slice is also a type of cells, cell slice. So basically when we can actually cell is can be transformed into slides, and then data bits and references so basically what actually cells do, cells whenever we read data from the cells, so we convert it into a slice, and then we can actually read it, and we can actually we actually get like we get bits. It means like we get the value, and the references is like we get the we get the address of other cells where the other data is stored. So everything is, so it's basically a readable form of the cell, if I'll say about. And then we have builder. So builder is also a data bits and references, and we can actually finalize this to a new cell, we actually store it in a different cell. And what is tuple? Tuple is like 256. It's basically a series of things, ordered collection of like 255 component. We'll use it later, and I think for the first program we are not going to use triplet and things, so we'll move to this. Next part. So the what are the structure of like a smart contract? If I talk about the structure of a smart contract on Tom, so it's basically divided into three parts. So we have like storage where we actually write the function and we can actually read those functions. So this part of the program is actually help in storing and reading the initial functions and everything. And then we have like messages the main sections that deal with send our contract. And it's like we it's basically something like where we actually perform some function. So if I'll take about like I have a number and I want to increase it, so it basically change the state of number, like it will change the 20 to 21. So we have like an increment. So for the change of state we have like a part of smart contract, that is message. So it's perform basically multiple functions like increment, deposit, withdraw, and transfer ownership from one person to other, and one address to other, because we have like we don't have any concept of person in on top. And if I'll talk about getter, so getter is a section where we can actually read the certain data, and we actually do this part of the contract to read and get some data from the different parts where it gets stored. So if I'll talk about like if I want to want to have like the check my wallet amount. So it's basically I'll use as getter function to get the. So basically a smart contract is divided into three parts: the storage part, message part, and getter part. Will actually you'll get more clarity once we write a code on live code on our museum. So next one. So before starting development on ton, so when I was we were actually facing a lot of problem when we want to actually develop something on ton or on other blockchains. We want to write a smart contract. So the as a new person, when we came on a new platform, we start searching for documentation. And if it's a new platform, then we definitely the communities, the help is very less. The enough of content is not available. And the the as we know about like non community is super helpful. They are actually active in a telegram. You can reach out to them. You can reach out to many people. They directly help you, reply you. But still as a person, we feel like it's a huge task. It's like a initially a big barrier to come and build something. If I want to come and build something on top, so setting up local was initially a very big problem for us. That's why because it's not about only not about the problem of like documentation and everything. Because sometimes like most of the users are using them OS window OS. And we actually have like few errors. And the new parts and the new ones don't know, and the professional one don't know how to actually set up a local and do those things. And also there are like many things not available for the like if I talk about local. If I want to share my code, and if I want to do so many things, different things like collaborations and everything, it was not very much actually present on the local. So we have developed our own ID, that is Newgen. And for that I'll talk about it later. So now I'll tell Rahul. He'll help you like how you can actually set up local. So Rahul, I think you are there.
Do we have any questions you can ask us related to the presentation?
Yeah. So if anyone actually wants to, ask anything from me till now, he can actually ask me. I think nobody is asking. So I think Rahul, now you can explain, how to set up that local. Rahul,
Sure, 1 second.
can you share your screen?
Let me. Is it visible now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We can see it.
For doing development on the TON, we have to set up a local system. For that, we would require the Node.js. And for the doing coding part, we would require some ID like VS Code, and for the syntax highlighter, we would require this plugin functions in language support. We once we have all those things, we can start with the npm script. Let me let me create a new project. I'll start with the new project. Once I have created a new project, let me install few dependencies which we would require. We would require TS Node for the TypeScript support, and for compiling Func language, we have to use this package called func-js. It is a cross-platform package, so we don't have to worry about any, like we have Windows or Mac or Ubuntu or any Linux system. And for interacting with the contract, we would require a few other dependencies. Let me install all those. Once we are done with the dependencies, we can move on to creating our first program. I will use this example from the blog we have on that one. Once your code is ready, you can proceed with the one more dependencies. For the name is standard library. We can download it, and I let me push into my project. Once we have all the dependencies, we can compile our smart contract with this command. Once contract is compiled, we will have one file with the bytecode which is contract.shell. And for deployment and other things, we have to create a script for that, like where it will be on the TypeScript part. This script for doing deployment and doing interaction with the smart contract. This is a long step process. So to minimize all those things, we can proceed with the one more platform like Notion. Can you start with the Notion, Sasang?
Yeah. I'll share it. I'll share my screen. Let's just stop it. So, like, we have actually, we have, worked with these things, and, we were also facing a lot of problems. So we have created a solution from like a browser-based ID that can be actually accessed from anywhere, and, you don't have to every time you get a new laptop or anything, like you don't have to set up anything. And, even for the interacting with your smart contract, writing test cases and everything, so you don't have to actually do those things, and you just enjoy writing your contract on Neogen or TON. So we have like this. You can go to our website like Neogen.io, and then you can actually look at the website. Like, it's a very cool website. You can come and actually see like what kind of functionalities we are offering, what is our roadmap, this is our team. So everything, you just come and see that, and then we actually have like open app feature. So you will come on the like first page. It's a landing page of my our Newgen, and you can actually log in with your name and your email ID. We just kept it very simple. We don't want to actually take other data and anything, so we just want to have some records of like the user. So that's why you can actually have like how you can use it and see things like what where you have to go. And we will actually improve it, and we are working on our UI part and other functionalities also. So you can actually have like this you can name your project here directly. You can I'm naming it like demo project. Then you have different templates. You can actually choose this new contract. It's a blank document, the counter program, which actually Rahul just given the chatbot contract. So with time we actually write like we will have like 20s of templates on our platform, and you can just actually come and interact and use those code. And then there we have like a new project that is demo. So I enter into this. I have already chosen the template like counter.fc. So this is like we have like counter cell, we have main part of the program, and we have initial state. So like if I'll explain to you this program. So this is like I was talking about, this is this part is like the storage part, because it have like load, it have like functions like load data and inline basically, used for directly calling a function. So you can actually read it from the read functions declaration. So return int as a result, because it has mentioned int. And then we have like other function like get data and begin dot pass. So begin dot pass basically what it do, it actually convert a cell state into a slice state, or I'll say that it actually load the storage. We have actually talked about it earlier. So start passing as a slice. So if I'll talk about like slicing is something, because 256 is a very big number, so it's basically start slicing from that, from to get to reach that number easily. And it's written like it's read a 64-bit unassigned integer and from slice, and it return it. So we actually have a load.pu int, and we have get data, we have load. And we actually like have a saved it. Basically load function is to read the data and to get some return value. But if we have like saved data, this is a function, we do to write function declaration and take it as an integer. So set data and begin cell set data store unit, and we are actually assigning it like a counter, and in 64-bit. So if I talk about like storage the cell and celebrate it with the builder. So once if we want to read something from the cell, then it's convert to a state called slice. And when we actually want to write something, then we call it like builder, and we it moved to the like builder state. Then we have like these receive internals, well known function signature. So we have like two methods, and like we if the cells actually the smart contract actually interact with each other, then we called it like they are interacting internally. And sometimes they have to actually interact with the external environment also. Then we call that them like receive underscore external. So but most of our part will not use that external part. So we have this part only. So we have like this statement, if in message body dot slice is empty. So if slice in message body, if it's an empty, because sometimes we also have like empty, we it also return empty. So it check whether it's empty or not. If it's empty, then it's returned successfully and accept the empty message. So sometimes actually we have empty messages also. But if I'll talk about like in next, but if it's not empty, then int in message body, then it will actually load that unity number and parse the operation type and encounter the beginning of the message body. So it actually load that, it is stored in counter. And then it will check if like operation is equal to 1. So we have actually defined it. If it's matched with the number, if it's matched with the condition, then save data, because it will actually increase the number by 1. So this is something happen. And this is like last part. If I'll talk about it, if we have already talked about it in our previous slides. If I'll say that it's there, it was somewhere. I lost it.
It, I think it's on the slide 8.
On the slide 8. No? Okay. Yeah. So if I'll talk about like this that was the storage part. I'll show you. So this is the storage part all we have. Then we have this message part. So this is the message part where all that computation and everything happens. So where the actually we interact or increase or decrease or do any of the, basically we change the state of the cell. And third part is this getter section deals with like read only. So it's a getter part. If I'll talk about int counter method id, so basically method id, it's a modifier, and we have counter loaded, and it's simply return counter. So this is a program for actually writing a counter. uh, this is a counter program example if I'll talk about. And one thing we actually need to do it in ton before, because we ton has a very unique concept of cell and slice and everything. So what we have to do is, we cannot have actually we also have to initialize the fuse. We as a, if I have a smart contract and I actually have the same initial value, and if two contract address actually deployed, and on the same, like deployed in exact manner, then not going to happen that, because it will actually consider them, it will collide and it will consider them like the same program. So it's not gonna happen. So we have to actually change the initial state, and for that, like, we have state a lot and JS program. This is like something written in JavaScript. That's why it's like function CFC is the main program. It's the smart contract. It's the initialization of step, or you can say the data user gave it. So it's initially 24. I'll change this to like 89. And then we have like this cell contract. So it's basically once the as we have actually done it, like operation is equal to 1. So this is something we have actually mentioned it, and it's checking cell bit right if 1. So this is that one, and this is the kind of like bit we have assigned to this cell. So now we will actually, if you want to do it in like traditional local setup, then you have to actually go and write those things in your npm and things like that. So but we actually can do it with simple interface. Here we have very simple interface on you can actually just come and select main.fc. You can click on build. It will actually compile your program, and it's showing that it's compiling successfully. You can then connect with a different wallet. So we have actually provided like 4 different options. So I'll open mask. If you don't have an open mask account, then actually you can go and make an wallet on this. I think it's solid. So if I want to deploy it, it will actually show the open mask, and I'll have to click on the like confirm button. So I'll click on confirm button, then it will actually, the my contract is deployed, and then I can actually send message to that contract, and it will also once again pop up open mask. I'll confirm it. I have test coin. So if you don't have any test coin, you actually I'll make a video on that, or I'll make something good blog post in, and you can actually go and check this, how can you get those coins. And once it's deployed, you can actually that was this is the explorer part. You can actually come and check this contract is deployed on the explorer. So I have deployed in 18 seconds before, and it'll cost me like 20.22 ton test net test coins. So this is it, guys. We have actually deployed it things, and we are actually building few more functionalities on this. Now you can actually write test cases for your smart contract. We'll launch it in 2 or 3 days. Then you can actually interact with, like you do with the ABI part in Solidity. So you can actually do that in interact with your contract in on Newgen, and you can also share your code on Newgen. So we are also providing those functionalities on this Newgen. So yeah, that's it. I think we have covered most of the part, and I think we have covered all the slides. Also, we have covered a demo example also. So yeah, anything you want to add, Rahul, to this?
No, no, from my side.
Yeah, yeah, I have one question. Is it possible to create API for the smart contract through your service? Because I think for now we should do that by our hands to just to write the code, then another page of code for the smart contract to interact with it.
Can you please repeat your actually question once again? Sorry for.
Yeah, question is about, in Solidity, it's available ABI, the thing to interact with a smart contract.
Yeah,
And as I understand, in Fancy, we use TypeScript API to interact from the front end to the smart
yeah,
contract.
yeah,
For now, you show us how to perfectly build the smart contract from the template and compile it and then deploy it. It's amazing.
yeah,
Is it available to build API through your service for the smart contract?
yeah. I think
Do you
Rahul
mean by
will answer.
API? Are you talking about ABI or API part? Like we do have in Solidity, we have ABI.
It's
He
it's like an example kind. It's just an example. Like Solidity have ABI,
Yes.
the Fancy have API, as I understand.
so
I'm
he
asking about API.
No, we do
he
not
ex
have
he Rahul,
on.
he is actually, I think, talking about the interaction part, basically the kind of interaction we have in like with ABI in Solidity. So he's actually asking like how we can do it in on functions here and what we are actually going to provide it, to solve that problem. I think this is the question.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
If we'll compare with the Ethereum part like Solidity, we have to create a ABI for doing interaction or with because in Solidity also we would require the TypeScript part or JavaScript part for interacting with the smart contract like we do in the TON. The only difference is that we do not require ABI, which is present in the Ethereum or Solidity part. If you want any API part, you can. We have lots of API for getting data. Let me share one with you. I'll share the URL.
no, I think actually Rahul, he's talking about like the like we have like ABI and how we interact with the contracts and Solidity, and it's very user friendly. So I think he want to ask like how we are actually going to do it on our platform. How we are actually making it fun, like, or easy for the developer to interact with with the contract.
We have that. Let me share one. Let me share my screen with you. I'll let me compile it. I think you were talking about the API part, like we do have get as a function available in the Ethereum. Am I correct?
I'm so sorry for that question. I just try to understand how to interact with the smart contract from the front end. So the main idea is understand how to build code between front-end interface, user interface, and Web3 backend with a smart contract. So we should provide some code to interact with the backend. and how we can build it.
Do you want ready-made code or the TypeScript part?
It's a TypeScript. Yeah. I'm focusing on TypeScript.
We uh, we we have already example for the TypeScript part. This is the script you can interact. You can use this script to interact with the contract. First, you have to use the mnemonics of the wallet, and we over here we have the wallet address with which you want to interact. I'll share this link in the chat box.
Let me find out this. Give me a minute. I'll send the link through the chat. Tutorial, smart contract, contract, TypeScript, cloud, it. I've sent interface about the interface class. At this tutorial, we presented how to interact with the fancy source counter. And my question, is it possible to build automatically these interface classes to interact with the smart contract in your product?
At the moment, we are planning for that, like Ethereum we have in the Remix. We have that plan in mind, so will be easy for the user to interact with the smart contract.
So what we have planned is, like, you can select your function and then you can pass parameters to it. Like, we are actually planning it in that way, and we are
Similar to the Remix we have.
yeah, we, because we have like first hand experience with the remix, so we are actually planning in that way, so that you can actually select your function and then you can pass parameters and things like that.
So
And
that
for that,
you do not have to write any script. We
so
have
that,
that
yeah, you don't have to
predefined.
write any scripts, to do it. Like, we are actually planning in that way.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Yeah, you can actually connect with us, if you want to. Like, we are actually very active on Telegram, so you can actually connect with us if you want to actually know more about it, because we have a complete roadmap. Because we actually conducted a survey from the fellow developers, and we actually we were having few other things in our mind. And but we when we interact with the developers, then actually they actually the one who told us what they want to build next for us. Like they were facing a lot of problem in writing test cases. Then we actually planned it in that way. And right now most of the developers are actually facing a lot of problem in debugging their code. So we also have like plan in our mind, how can we actually add the debugging feature in our product. So but right now, like, it's very we won't be able to complete it for the, like, hackathon. So but we will continue this project for like long, for the endlessly. So yeah, we will actually definitely make, and I'll promise, like, we will have, like, within like 4 to 5 months, you will see a lot of features, even like 10 more features than remix on our ID. And we are actually, right now you cannot share your code. If I want to share my function C code with you right now on, but I cannot share it, because I have to copy my whole code and then I have to actually send it. So
Or the
it's
only option is available is GitHub like platform Git.
yeah, we actually have to actually can interact with, actually synchronizes with GitHub, and then actually you can see it, like. But right now we are planning in such a way, like, if you want to share your code, going to be very easy. It's going to be like, you can actually directly come and I'll share it like I share a message on Telegram. We want to make it that simple. So this is our goal. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything, and I'll answer the few questions. Eugene, Eugene, if I'll sorry if I pronounce it wrong, Eugene, do you see this project as a TON alternative to Ethereum Remix, or they are different? So basically, when we were planning, actually, we have nothing in mind. We were the new ones on TON, and we actually see this as a big problem, because on function C, like, a lot of developers facing a lot of challenge. Even Rahul is like 7 years old, 7+ years of experience, and I am also having 3+ years of experience. So we were facing a lot of problem on how we can actually develop it for the community. So that's why we developed it specifically for ton. And because ton is having like, if we'll actually make it for ton, because ton is going to have such a large number of users, so it will definitely help everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand it's for ton, but there are developers from the Ethereum ecosystem who are used to writing in Solidity, and then they come to ton. And I see that those developers often ask, they say that in Ethereum, there is Ethereum Remix online IDE, and it's convenient for me to use it. And is there such a thing but for ton? And what I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah. So basically, even if you talk about like remix, it also has certain flaws, because when me and Rahul were actually studying the product of their, like, we were actually finding out the current gaps in remix. Then we'll figure out, actually, there are actually many gaps are still not in functionals, is still not in remix. Like, you cannot share your code, and for that they have like a separate platform. You cannot collaborate on a single id. Like, if you and I want to write a code and simultaneously want to debug it, so how we'll do it? Like, you will come on a meet, I'll come on a meet, we'll share our screen and we'll do it. So we actually want to make this experience so seamless, so it's going to be as easy as, like, we use Google Sheets to to actually write a document together. So we actually, guys, can actually write a document together. So so these are like the many functionalities we were planning to have, and we have, like, compiling everything on like browser, in browser. So there is going to be like no issue of security and everything. And also, like, Remix is building everything on local, and we are also planning to provide like a service, like you can actually synchronize your whole code on with cloud, and then you can actually access it with other computer, or anyone anywhere in the world. And we are actually, for if because we are building it for the ton, and ton is having like a very good storage structure and like cell and this. So we'll actually in future we'll figure out how can we actually like integrate this whole with the storage system of ton, so that user can actually deploy, store their contracts, store their data in the storage part, and they will actually use it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else like want to ask anything? I think Manan is asking what's your views on AI, and will it be employable recently? AI is all of a different topic. We'll talk about it later, Mine. You can actually message me. And Valdemir is asking what are our responses. So we are not actually directly associated with Ton. It's because we are developers, and as a developer we actually face a lot of problems. So we as a community members, we want to solve those problems, and we were actually planning to build a project on for the hackathon. So we think, like, we should not plan it, and we should not build it like it's an hackathon. So we are actually building it not for like specifically for hackathon. So we are building it like it will happen, like it will help developers for the, like, to come and develop something like on ton. And it will be, it's because we know, like, if I'm a new user on, and if I am a new for the ton, and I want to come and build something on the ton, it's very difficult for me to just come and start building, because the main problem I'll face is not the high barrier to entry, like, because it's a huge task to set up everything. And if I'll get some error in the initially, I might feel very demotivated, and I might not even continue building those projects. So this is what our motivation to building something for like ton for developers and for the dev community. We are also planning to have like these regular session with Mark and on this on in company, so that we will actually teach, uh, we will actually build many templates on our platform, and we will actually teach each template with examples, so that like they can actually have a a live experience of coding and building together. So we have this motto of like building and learning and building together. So that will definitely help them to come and build together. Yeah. So anyone has any question? Liam, Alex, Valdemir, Vivian. So okay, if everyone is not having any question, then I think we can close it. Thank you everyone. Thank you for like this support and coming and like attending our session. Thank you so much.